Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm so excited to have Fri Chihak here. Fri is a wonderful life coach who has these incredible websites and events that help people expand their prosperity consciousness and really tune in to the idea of what it would be like to become a billionaire. A lot of time in the spiritual community, in the law of attraction community, and with clients that I have, there's a fear of really wanting to achieve an intention as big as wanting to be a billionaire. And I disagree with that in many ways. I think that there's this fear is inconsistent. And so I was really attracted to Fri's message. She's trying to help other people become billionaires and embraces the intention of being a conscious billionaire.
Yes.
The idea of being a conscious billionaire is fascinating to me. She's an ex-teacher and has a background in metaphysics and some other things. So we're going to have a great conversation. Welcome to the Reality Revolution, Fri. How's it going?
Thank you, Brian. I'm so excited to be here and to be able to share this and just have this wonderful chat with you. Thank you for inviting me here.
Fantastic. So for people that have not heard about you on the Reality Revolution, give us a little bit of your background and what it is you do.
Absolutely. Well, basically, I'm a former high school teacher. I was born and raised in Cameroon, West Africa. I studied in London and then here too. So I have a master's degree in teaching and leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, you know how life goes, I decided to veer off the track and become a businesswoman. So I became really fascinated with the idea of billionaires. They have a certain lifestyle totally contrary to the lifestyle that I was raised in.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that fascination and because of the fact that I have been a metaphysician throughout my life, I was born, with the ability to see things and, which parents are out. But my grandparents were actually in metaphysics. My grandmother was a shaman, a healer, and she used herbs and she talked to spirits, that kind of thing. And she was, she was laughed at a lot,
Right.
because of what she was doing. And my grandpa was a tree medicine man. He would speak to the spirit of trees and be directed as to how to heal. So I grew up in that environment. And I was I'm also a natural born astral projector. So there are a lot of things that were in my life that have been, wrapped around metaphysics. So metaphysics I've been searching and finding and following the different paths throughout my life. Now, having this metaphysics and then having this goal of being a billionaire. And I'm sitting here thinking, we've got these abilities as metaphysicians and we've got this incredible knowledge. Why aren't more spiritual people billionaires? Why don't we have, in this law of attraction, metaphysical community, a lot of us skyrocketing to the highest levels financially, and then using that to spread the message to be able to help other people and to live a fabulous life.
Absolutely.
So here we are discussing that.
In the spiritual community, you find a lot of people that will say that they don't want material possessions anymore. They reach a point where they say, oh, all of that's unimportant. I've gone within. And in many ways, I think as I read the science of getting rich, it is my spiritual duty to become rich. And the more resources I have, the more I can help other people. And I can maybe help one or two people at a certain level, but as a billionaire, I can help billions of people. And so it's one of the hardest things I've found as a coach, and as you can agree, is this prosperity mindset. People have a mindset. They are afraid of wealth. They think they are guilty about it. They have this feeling that it's wrong, that they're doing the wrong thing, that it's evil. So as you probably, somebody who has set this intention and helped other people, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that there's an inconsistency in the spiritual community. If you're going to come to me and say that I should feel guilty or wrong for wanting to manifest resources in my life, there's an inconsistency. So what is your perspective on that? And
Brian, that is so true. I mean, a lot of people are naturally afraid of wealth. And the way I look I think it comes from the ancient Christian background,
Right.
or a religious background, where people have been taught that somehow to give what you have away and be poor and humble is somehow your gateway to heaven.
Right.
And it is frightful for you to desire, and you should somehow quench your desire, and your desire is not important. I mean, we see this in many different schools of thought, religious schools of thought. And so this is so ingrained in the consciousness of the world, and it's been passed down from generation to generation. And it's so contradictory, because right there, when you look at a book like the Bible, for instance, you see this mixed messages. You see King Solomon, he's absolutely wealthy, and his son is adoring him and looking up to him. And then you turn the next page, and then you're being told to not ask, to be humble, to give away. You see the woman who had give away her last 10 shillings or something of the sort. I don't recall the story quite clearly, but she goes and gives it away, and everybody celebrates that. And you're sitting there, how's she going to feed her kids? Right. If you give it all away, how do you, I mean, so it's contradictory, and this, but I mean, that consciousness is deeply ingrained in people, where people feel like if you're wealthy, somehow, it takes your spirituality away from you. And it's a bogus concept, because there's nothing that isn't spiritual. I mean, on this earth, every single thing is spiritual, because everything comes from source. So using finances, whether you're exchanging calories for tea, or you're taking your $5 and getting a piece of gum, it's a spiritual exchange, energetic exchange that's happening all the time. Right. And we're in our society right now with all the we want to make any changes, we need financial abundance. Yes. If you really want to go out there, if your friend is in trouble, you can go and console. You can sit with your friend, pat him on the back or her, and say, oh, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. However, if you are fabulously financially abundant, you can both pat your friend on the back and write her a check, 10 grand. Right. And say, hey, clothes for those kids. Hey, you guys take a vacation and go hang out and forget about the terrible thing that, so you can, I mean, I would rather be the friend that can both pat you on the back and give you a check for 10 grand and assist you in other ways.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. I asked people listening to this interview, how did you feel when I said the word billionaire? Go inside, because I know that some people that are listening or even saw the thumbnail for this YouTube video had a response, a reaction. Yes. And that's a question for you. You really should be aware that if you're feeling a reaction, or you're saying that's ridiculous, there's something going on within you. You are limiting or blocking your ability to achieve this massive, and so there is a difference. I want to talk, you chose the billionaire path with an intention, which I love that, as a conscious billionaire. And as you have said, some people say, I don't want to really focus on the amount of money. I just want to focus on the experiences. And I understand that perspective, but there's something different about the billionaire perspective. Now, you could have chosen a millionaire, right, but the billionaire is different. And your reason for that difference in choosing to go for the billionaire instead of the millionaire?
Well, first of all, more impact. Right. I can reach, I mean, because for me, I've lived in the United States for 20 years. And the difference between where I live and where I was born and raised is starkly different. Yeah. As a millionaire, yes, I can impact some people, but as a billionaire, I can have greater influence, not only here in the US, but also where I was born and raised. I could, so impact, influence, that's a huge leverage for me. Right. And then the stage that opens up, ability to be able to stand on, to be on the cover of Forbes magazine, for instance, right, saying billionaire Fri Chihak on there, and that goes spreading out and going. So it reaches a certain level. The other reason besides leverage is also as an African American woman. So as an African American woman, I feel that it is time for us as a race, I
Mhm.
mean, we're just in this body, this lifetime. But
Right.
I came into this body for a reason. I must have chosen it because I wanted to make an impact too in that
Yes.
arena. And how many African American women do you see on the cover of Forbes magazine, Billionaires?
Right.
Oprah, and I think there's another Nigerian woman and two women in Africa and Oprah. Once in a while, you see them. The two in Africa, I don't even think people know about them, but Oprah, everybody knows
Right.
about her. So I'm thinking it's time
I
for us to
thinking it's
rise up.
time.
Yes.
Exactly. It's
Yes.
time,
So as
isn't
an
it?
African American woman, I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine, Billionaires, proudly and saying, listen, we are no longer limited by the color of our skin. We cannot no longer use that as the
Exactly.
reason. We've got to blast forward because we know we are not our physical bodies. We
Right.
know we are source. We are powerful beings. So that's
Mhm.
another reason.
We
The
have a
third
chance
reason,
in this
Brian,
incarnation to make a difference now.
yes,
We can do it
now,
now. We don't
absolutely.
need to wait till another
Because I mean,
lifetime.
you about everything that, yeah, this is the time,
This is
and
it.
this is it. This is it.
Mhm.
We need to be able to move and shake and really make changes, right?
Mhm.
Because we are supported by the power of divinity that we
Right.
have access to. And the third reason, and you may laugh at this,
Yeah.
the third reason is because the air is cleaner at the billionaire level than the millionaire level. Do you know there are a lot more people who are wanting to be millionaires, and there's a lot of energetic struggle. Energy is a struggle around being a millionaire because
Right.
think about it. In the coaching world and business world, that
Mhm.
people are trying to be millionaires, and it's like that grind. Oh, I want to be a millionaire, and I feel like
Right.
that if you look at the energetics of being a millionaire and a billionaire, looking at the energies, if you could see the energies, you will see that the millionaire section is really dense because there's a lot of, it's so hard to be a millionaire. It's so hard. Hardly anyone is thinking about setting that billionaire intention. And because
Yes.
people aren't setting the billionaire intention, the air is cleaner. That's what I mean. So the
I
energy is cleaner
love that.
up there.
Yes.
Yes. So therefore, if my focus to be a billionaire, the path is clearer. There are not a lot of bumps
Right.
along the way. Yeah. So those are just some reasons, and I
No,
think
I love it. So in coaching some of my clients, when they've had something similar to that goal, I've had this exercise imagine right now you have to spend $1 million a day. For some people, that's out to put yourself in the billionaire mindset. It
yeah,
is different. And so you have to capture the mindset on a daily basis, what it feels like. So you have obviously gone through this process. You've made this your intention. What are some exercises that you do to really capture the essence of being a billionaire in the moment? Right? What are
yeah,
the things that you've?
absolutely. Well, first of all, Brian, I do have a poster that I had made. Let me see. Oh, unfortunately, I don't have it next to me. It's
No,
a
it's
little
okay.
bit further over there in my office. I
Yeah.
should have brought it close, but I have a poster that I had made of me on the cover of Forbes magazine.
I've seen it on your other videos. Right. Yeah. I
Excellent.
love it. I
Yes,
love it. That's
yes. So
fantastic.
that's in
Right.
my office, and I to see that every day. And when
Right.
I look at that, I smile because I am
Right.
on the cover of Forbes magazine. So that's one of the things. I know it seems like a small thing, but it
Hmm.
is huge when it
Right.
comes to intention. Every time, and I'm in my office a lot during the, and so
Right.
many times I glance at that. I don't necessarily look at it and imagine myself as a billionaire there, but I
Hmm.
glance at it, and every so often I'll read it, or sometimes people will come by, and if they walk by and they see it, they ask, and we talk a little bit. All those, this board, this vision of me on the
Hmm.
cover of Forbes, is so powerful, helping me keep that intention and keeping me grounded and focused in this vision, being a billionaire, because it's something I see. One time
Hmm.
I went to an open house, looking at an open house, and I had just a few days ago been seeing myself on the Forbes, and I was wearing this red dress,
Hmm.
heels, and a certain kind of earrings. I walk into this open house, and the real estate agent is dressed exactly that way. I take and go double take. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm so sensitive. Oh my goodness, this is so interesting because then it seemed to me that, of course, my great juju source, that's how I call my source or inner being, was showing me what I would look like.
Yes.
So it's like picturing it in my mind, but now I had an even stronger visual of it in this woman. So that's one way, just one way that I go into this billionaire reality, because for me it's my reality already. I mean, and I drive by the, I live in a high net worth neighborhood, so it's easy for me to sort of to drive next door to see all these huge homes, to see the Lamborghinis and the Bugattis and the Rolls Royces. They go by my area all the time, so that's my vision. Those cars are what I have for vision as a billionaire, because I intend to live a fabulously luxury lifestyle as a billionaire. I don't shy away from wealth. I'm not going to be one of those billionaires shying away from my wealth. No, I am going to be flashy. I don't what people think. They can go do their own. If I can do it, they can do it. So no excuses there. But I'm also going to be giving a lot, right? Doing things, making changes, etc. And I feel like just attaining that billionaire status is a huge, huge deal.
Absolutely.
So the way that I get into the billionaire mindset is to parallel universe. So when I was a little kid growing up, I used to have these interesting experiences that, totally scared. They freaked my parents out. And they had to take me to like a shaman to do some of my abilities.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with this kind of.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Because I would see things that weren't there. I would go places that weren't go. So it would be like I would be sitting here, and then all of a sudden the doorway would open like a mirage. Have you seen, like, when you look at the roof, when the sun's shining and you look at the roof and you can see mirage happening there.
So you're seeing stuff in the astral plane on a regular basis.
So, but right here in my physical reality, right? So this is when I was little, and I would see a mirage, and I would just walk right through, and then I would be playing with some kids. I would be in a completely different place.
Wow.
And then I would come back and tell these stories. And so my parents were like, so I used that. They did some things, they closed my ability. I could see I could see that they were scared. I was just talking about this with my mom and sister last week, and how scared they were of the things that I used to do. So I was like, at that time, I feel that I must have felt how scared they were and allowed myself to lose, not really lose, because we never really lose it, but to let go of those realities so I can be more focused in the physical realm. So, but one of the things that I do now is to imagine that I can see, because I have the visual, right? To imagine that I can see that and project my consciousness to this place. And instead of seeing my little friend that I used to play with, I can now see me and this lifestyle, whatever I want to do, in that billionaire state, which is really powerful and really real to me. Yeah. And so sometimes when I come back from it, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I'm now in a different place. It doesn't look like a billionaire house yet.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think that when we're younger, we are given instructions to block some of those abilities and our ability to see things. And a lot of us growing up is unlearning what we learned when we were younger, especially when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah.
So you have you've helped other people that have this intention of a high net worth, and I just wanted to get your idea of some success stories that were for people that you've helped.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the success stories that I helped was I helped a friend / client who, we had this relationship where, because she knows I'm a metaphysician, so she would, in her business, she would contact me and we would talk, and sometimes we'll go out and I would help her with getting back and things like that. And very interesting, This one day she called me up and she, she was really freaking out. She's like, I need your help. Let's talk about something that happened. What happened? Well, she got, through some circumstances, she got put in touch with a couple of billionaires from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a conference call and they were talking about potentially doing some deal together. Anyway, she got really scared because the way they were talking, their level of financial commitment, the things that they were saying, sort of scared her because she wasn't anywhere close to being a billionaire, anywhere near there. And she hadn't even thought about the billionaire intention.
Right.
So
when your moment comes, you might not be ready. Right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So she was talking to me about that, and she was saying, why I'm sitting here with these people while I was put in touch with these people. It doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. It's so far-fetched and so far out there. And then I counseled her and I told her, listen, why is because your great juju realizes your capacity to be a billionaire. Mm-hmm. And so but you haven't yet consciously made that choice, and it could go either way. So here you are with your great juju presenting you with an opportunity for you to say either yay or nay. Mm-hmm. So which is it going to be? Do you want to be a billionaire or not? And for the first time, she was taken aback. She was like, oh my goodness, mm-hmm. I hadn't thought this. I said, make the decision, stand by it. So she said, yes, I definitely, it sounds wonderful. I definitely want to be a billionaire. Mm-hmm. Not long after that, I could go into this and it would be absolutely amazing, Brian, but not long after this, through a series of circumstances that you would not believe, excuse me, she, let's just put it this way, got an oil block. Uh-huh. Yes. So through a series of circumstances, she got an oil block, and so the way it works is that some of the big companies like Mobil, and they go in, they get these oil blocks, they make the contract with the government, they get these oil blocks, they work the block for a few years, and then they let go. They don't renew their contract. So the block comes back to the government offers this for entrepreneurs to bid on, certain companies to bid on, any company. And it was through a series of events like that Mobil had left the block, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And my client was able to get that block, which mm-hmm. then put her in a billionaire status. Potential. Oh, wow. Yes. Oh, potential. Wow. I can say potential because, the crude still has to be taken out. And
well, every billionaire is always a potential billionaire. Once you reach that point, you have stocks and high leverage investments. And I'm okay. I embrace that. When I become a billionaire, I know that I'm a potential billionaire every day, but I understand that's part of the billionaire mindset, which is so exciting.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. So,
this was we celebrated. This was a huge deal because the way it came through, mm-hmm. the way things worked out, and this is not to say she didn't take any action, but the way everything came together, there was no other explanation but for you to see the power of divine movement in the works, because on her own, just no way.
Right.
But in sync and in combination with her ability, when she said yes, and she allowed divinity, and she's a strong spiritual woman too. Mm-hmm. So she got it. She understood it. And one of the questions was, but how? Mm-hmm. How am I going to be a billionaire?
And that is something that you don't want to ask, right?
Yes. No. So I say to myself, say to my great juju, someday I am going to be involved in the how. For now, I concede the how to you. I let you decide the how. Mm-hmm. But someday I'm going to be in there. So, but that's just one example Wonderful. Of how really tapping into metaphysics and setting the intention to mm-hmm. be a billionaire things can happen. This is an industry that she wasn't familiar with.
Right. So let's address the wealth coaches. I've had a few wealth coaches that have said, if you If you focus on the billionaire, you're going to immediately create a lack mindset because you'll be aware of what you don't have, which is a common argument among practitioners. And I want there to be an answer for that, because I think that the fear of lack, this fear of the what I call the Chinese finger toy of attraction, this worry that when we focus on something that we don't have it, it's not always like that, we can place our attention on it, and it doesn't mean that we have an awareness of what we don't have. It's a mindset. I wanted to get your opinion. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
that's a common argument. Oh no, you don't want to focus on the billionaire because then you're just going to be aware of what you don't have. Right? And I say, no, that's not true. Don't be so afraid to be aware of it. So what is your opinion? Is there a trick where we can be aware when there's a lack mindset that's confronting us when we're dealing with this, and when we're embracing the wealth mindset?
Well, the first thing to understand is there's no lack mindset. Really, there isn't.
Okay.
There's no lack mindset. The reason there's no lack mindset is because we all have. You just have to look around you to see that you don't lack.
Right.
I mean, your body is taking care of it. It's breathing on its own, so you don't lack. You're on an amazing planet that is basically taking care of you, nurturing you. You don't lack. You're sitting on a chair somewhere in a home, you don't lack. You may even be under a bridge somewhere. You're still under a bridge somewhere. Right. Do you see how we think of lack like somehow we don't have something? But it's because we're not looking at the thing that we have. So we have energy, right? So financial abundance is energy. Money is energy. We are energy. Everything is energy. Right. Money is not must. When you see that money is easy, it's energy, and it's not, and yes, it is easy, and not separate from us, then you don't see the lack. How are you going to say that you lack energy? That energy is not prevalent all over the place. Right. You may be a little bit tired, but that's not what I'm talking about. Energy is everywhere, so therefore there is no lack. Okay? Right. But I think what people are saying when they talk about lack is and this is I call this whole thing, this idea that someone is in lack, an illusion, right? It's like that mirage is talking about, like an illusion. Right. So what they're saying is, well, because I'm not a billionaire yet. If I say I'm a billionaire and then I'm going to be saying, but I'm not a billionaire yet, or I'm not a billionaire, that somehow that disparity is lackful. But it's not lackful. It's just that I think it's an illusion, a misconception of the way they're perceiving financial abundance. Because if you look at and also a separation, which then makes being a billionaire some sort of goal to reach, and something that's big and it have to strive for. And they forget, and we do, and I do too, sometimes, that for the universe, for the great juju, and as Hicks would say, to create a castle and to create a button are exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same thing. Yeah.
So so because when you look at that, you can clearly see that there isn't any lack. There is it's the same. The button and the being a billionaire and being having $1,000, a thousandaire.
Right.
It's the same thing to the universe.
Right.
So I mean, so I hope that helps you to realize if someone starts to think they're in lack, they just have to look at the phone that they have in their hands, and they can say, how is it that I'm in lack? I've got a phone. Right. You're not in lack. You've got a phone. You have a desk. You just look outside. The trees that are planted these days, people have to buy everything is financial. Not everything, but most things are bought with money. You see it everywhere. So financial abundance is prevalent. It's abundant. And it's abundant in you because you and financial abundance are the same thing. You're just your energy. So you lack what? Right. I mean, it's like almost saying you lack yourself. You don't lack you can't. You're made of the same material.
Yeah. So I have this weird theory about money, and maybe I was going to run it by you because you're talking about kind of magic at the same time. Do you think that money is an entity, a living conscious entity that we can channel. That money is more than just this thing that we get, but it's almost over time become a conscious extra energy that does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. Yes. Well, money, I don't think that money in itself is an entity, but I think that we have created an energy stream or an entity, a servitor, or, one of those things.
Right.
Energetic entities, because of our focus on money, because energetic focus creates, right?
Right.
So each of us could have an energetic entity that we have created as a result of our focus on money. And we could give this energetic money entity more energy and directions and whatever, right? So we can, I believe that is possible, that probably, I mean, because we can't focus on something so much without necessarily creating a sort of energetic static, I guess, around that thing.
Right. Like over time, it may not have been conscious, but because there's so much focus on it, there's over time maybe an energetic entity that has even become conscious. It likes to play with you, and it once you fall in, it falls in love with you. It'll bless you the way that, if you embrace it. I don't know. That's sometimes it's so.
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel it's regardless of whether the entity has its own power. I feel that we still have power in terms of the way we want to play with it. So if you decide to create a money entity, we specifically create energy balls, we create servitors, we create various entities ourselves in order to give them specific directions. I know of people who have created specific entities, dragons or whatever, to guard their children when they go off to college, or things like that. So if we can do that, we can certainly do that with money. So if you were creating your money entity, you could design it to be a certain way. You could design it such that, whenever you want some money, it could bring it to you, and it would do your bidding. And if you fully engaged with it, and so yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what a wonderful! I love it.
Yeah, me too.
So a lot of people that may be listening to this, I know there's going to be a group of people that are like, well, I don't really get into business very much. And I don't want to go to business school, and starting a business is complicated. I have to get a tax ID number, and I need to go. People will create all of these blocks. When I've coached them, I know you probably have had the same thing. They start to create these steps that they have to jump over that are too hard for them. Yeah. And so I wanted to get your impression to tell people I don't care where you're at. If you're in the worst kind of poverty, where you don't believe that you have resources, no matter what your situation, you can be a billionaire. Yes. You can be a billionaire. There are billionaires that have started in worse situation than you, right? Yeah. There are people that have been, that are living on the street that are billionaires right now. And so one big thing that people need to overcome is their current situation. And also this understanding that it's hard, that business is hard, that the process is hard. Give us a perspective on that, overcoming those particular blocks.
Well, Brian, in my group, I have a group on Facebook. It's called Manifest High Net Worth. We have in that group a book club. And in the book club right now, we are reading The $1 Billion Secret. In the book, The $1 Billion Secret, the author he travels around the world and interviews billionaires from all over the world.
Wonderful.
And he's getting their stories, their ideas, how they came to be billionaires. And I promise you, anyone who picks up that book and reads the stories in there will have no complaints. They will never, especially if you were born in the United States or the Western world, and you read about billionaires like Africa or India, who from the Middle East, who were in the worst possible circumstances.
Right.
And rose from those to become billionaires, you will never complain again. Right. Never. Because people just assume that, you know, when you become a billionaire, all of a sudden, everyone sees you. And then when they read stories about you, they hear all these about how you're spending money, giving away, living a lavish life. And they don't take the time to look at where you came from.
Right.
And in that book, there are people who came from circumstances I would never wish on anyone.
Right.
And they tell the story, the journey, how they went from where they were to being billionaires and how they did it. So I recommend that, you know, just go pick up the $1 Billion Secret on Amazon and do yourself a favor and stop complaining. And it's one of the reasons why I have this, you know, my YouTube, you know, I don't really do the videos much anymore, but
no, you have some great videos on there. So Manifest High Worth and High Net Worth. Yeah.
Yes. Manifest High Net Worth YouTube, where I do the conscious billionaire interviews. Well, one of the reasons interviews is so you can have a record, right? Because imagine, I don't know if Bezos, for instance, or Bill Gates, if they kept records of them, you know, when they were struggling and doing things, and they, you know, it would be fascinating for us to watch. Instead of hearing it as a story, it would be fascinating to actually see Bill Gates saying, oh my gosh, this is so frustrating, or this is what I'm doing right now. And I'm trying to best. Now that show, we have records of people saying, hey, my vision is to be a billionaire, but look at where I am right now, nowhere close. So someday when they're billionaires, and someday when I'm a billionaire, and people can watch this show and say, hey, she was on Brian Scott's the Reality Revolution show, and she was not a billionaire yet, but look at her. And the intention is to show that we can do it. We can do it. We can just set the intention. And if the intention is strong, then the pathways are going to start opening. You know, for those of us that know spirituality and metaphysics, we understand the universe works, that your intention is strong. And always remember that if you have the idea is usually at the tail end, or the tail of the manifestation. Because by the time you receive the idea, it's already created. That's why you receive the idea in the first place. It's because most of it is already done, and it comes to you so you can chew on it, and you can create. You can sort of like decide. Hey, do I want this? Does this feel right to me? What challenges that I'm faced here? What do I want? You can pretty much play with it and then come to a decision. Okay, yes, I want this. No, I don't want this. But it's already done. Energetically, it's already done.
So there's some unique things about the billionaire mindset that are different than the millionaire mindset. One being that you don't go after just one idea, right? That you're going after multiple ideas are coming to you, and it's that's one thing I've coached in people. Oh, well, you have just one idea that you're going to go after, and you want to be a billionaire. Well, you know, that idea better be $1 billion idea, or you can have 10, $100 million ideas, or you can. So I wanted to get how do we expand our ability to create multiple choices and see multiple options? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Because I mean, it really depends. For me, I feel like there should be no set rule around how you become a billionaire. Because individual intentions are so powerful. And if you can hold the intention, then the pathways are going to come. Sometimes the pathway looks like one idea at first, and you start to pursue that one idea, and then that one idea begins to branch off and other parts come together. So it all depends on how you are as a human being, because, for instance, we're not working with source, and your source is of some things that you may not be aware of yet, or you have forgotten, for instance, about your personality and how you are. And you may be the kind of person who enjoys, for example, focusing on just one thing at a time. And here you are with this intention to be a mega billionaire, and your source is saying, okay, the best way for her would be to do this water project, to do that health project, you know, to do that oil project, etc. However, if we were to give her all those projects at once, that would scare her and she wouldn't do anything. So let's but right now, she's gonna love the chewing gum idea the most. So let's give her the chewing gum idea because she loves to create different flavors.
Right.
And so I get into the chewing gum and I start working on the chewing.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, this is gonna take me to this is my billionaire idea. I may or may not know it's my billionaire idea. I just pursue it.
Right.
And it's wonderful. But as I go into the billionaire idea and I start meeting other people, growing, learning about how to create amazing flavors of gum, all of a sudden, I run into this water project. Oh, this water project is great. And now my chewing gum has, the director is there, the people that can sort of run it without me fully being there, already established. Now I can branch off to this water idea, and the chewing gum is still taking off, going places on its, that type of thing.
Right.
So that could happen. So I would say, for instance, for myself and for everyone, not to concern yourself exactly on how. Just focus on whatever is exciting that you're doing now. Whatever project it is that you're doing now, go for it and focus on it. If it's just one thing, great. If you love having your hands in several different pies at the same time and you're able to manage that, go with that as well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, maybe we'll come back to, but I'm also fascinated because you have your juju course you talk about, and you have a background in metaphysics. So I wanted to talk about magic a little bit with you. You have some background in that, and you, for some people it's going over the line, it's a little bit too woo-woo, but there is some power. First of all, have you seen magic work? Real magic work, not just law of attraction, but magic, entities, spells, that kind of thing. And I'd love to have some of your experience on that.
Well, I just wanted to say woo and I are one. Woo and I are one and the same. We're not separate, so I'm totally woo. And I embrace that fully.
Right.
Fully. I apologies. I make no apologies for who I am to anyone. I am as I am. I love woo. I love metaphysics. I love magic. That's me.
Right.
Period. Now, so diving into that, yes, I have seen some incredible things. Now, I was a Gnostic priestess for 12 years, and this is a secret, or just an esoteric group, like how they had the Freemasons, that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah. So I was a part of that for a long time, 12 years. And we got to do some really fun things in that group. We really played with some magic, invocations, getting to meet masters type of thing. We experimented with that a lot. Of course, I had seen my grandmother do some things as well. So she was able to, she would call deities, to her to speak to them to find out what she needed. Yes. The answer is yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes, it's fascinating, to see that kind of thing happen and to be able to call on entities, or call on deities, that and people do that. Yeah.
So as an expert, do you have a recommended way of protecting my energy? The idea that by using the knowledge of Gnosticism, like you said, is there an energy routine that you've developed that can protect you and give you a feeling of protection when you do these things? Sometimes that's a question I always like to ask. I've learned some different protection routines. I've personally experimented with the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which is a very common one. But then there's other people have different ones. Is there anything that you'd recommend for? Do you understand what I'm asking?
I understand what you're asking. Yeah. What I would say first, to me, it's always important to know that your personal power is magnificent and nothing can penetrate your personal power unless you desire it or unless you to it. So your personal, we underestimate, in my opinion, our personal power. It is incredible, and nothing will penetrate if you say you do not want it. I have spoken and said to entities, no, I will not tolerate that, and they back off. So for me, is starting with that premise. And when I am doing any magic, if I'm where I'm going to maybe invoke, or and I don't really like the word invoke because it has so many different connotations.
Right. Yeah.
Just call
Right.
into my circle various beings, or I'm wanting to meet various beings in the physical plane, or when I'm in the astral plane exploring, I simply say, in this circle, I only ask for blah, blah, blah. And I state what I want.
Right.
And do not even attempt to hear me for anything if you are not blah, blah, blah,
Right.
And that personal power is respect. It is when you command that, they will not stand in your energy space with that. The challenge is that a lot of people don't feel that they are that powerful.
Right.
They feel that the entities are more powerful because they've been watching, movies or reading books or whatever, or maybe they've heard someone else's experience where the person shared that they were overcome by some entity or whatever. And in addition, because of, again, the religious background where they talk about the devil and the devil tempting you and making you do things you don't want to do. And Adam was tempted and he succumbed, to the evil. And all of that tradition there, that's what makes us not really stand in our power. But you got to realize we are exceedingly powerful. We are source.
Right.
And we get to command, and whatever you say, and you know, when you say it with your intention, and this is what I want, you have clarity around that. No one's going to try and usurp it. No one's going to use their alien will not try to penetrate your circle because your power alone has covered it. Now, people who feel that some other entities can penetrate, you can do the tetragrammaton around yourself. You can take salt and put it around. My grandmother used to use charcoal and palm oil.
Okay.
Palm oil, she used to use charcoal, palm oil, and some salt to sort of make a circle around her space where she, where she performed her magic, that kind of thing. So, and you can, so basically whatever you feel gives you, because what matters is that whatever you use, you feel protected by. You're not sitting there, you're calling a divinity or an angel or whatever deity you're calling into your circle, and then you're shaking in your boots with fear. Oh my God, oh my God. Why are you doing that? Right.
Right. That makes sense. So you had mentioned also that you are pretty good at astral travel, and I'm fascinated by that. So how long have you been astrally traveling, and can you help us, for people that are struggling, that want to astral project? Do you have any suggestions for that?
Of course. Well, I'm a natural born astral projector, so I was born doing it. I've been doing it all my life.
Lucky you.
And obviously, at the beginning, I just assumed that was normal for everyone, until I found that it wasn't normal, and then it turns out again. But that's one of the abilities that I have kept. I mean, I have to go to bed every night. It doesn't happen every night, but it happens a lot. And along the way, I kind of learned more about it.
Right.
It's very easy, and it's not hard because we all do it. Astral projection is a natural thing. Every time you go to sleep, you astral project.
Right.
The difference between the person who knows the astral projecting and the one who doesn't is that I am aware when that separation sort of, quite when that other body, that astral body, is leaving my physical body as I enter that sort of sleepy state.
Right.
So I am aware of that sort of separation that happens. And a lot of people may be terrified of that, but, because sometimes it has different sensations, right? So sometimes it feels like, you're stuck in your bed and you can't move. Sometimes you hear loud sound. Sometimes you just hear a buzzing, or you feel your body vibrating. It's a variety of different things. Experience when my body is leaving. And so it depends. So if someone really wants to attempt an astral projection, It's really easy. It's not hard. When they're going to bed, when you're going to bed, maybe go a little early, maybe when you're not too sleepy, right? So you can be aware, because you want to be aware of the process. You go into bed, and this is not my process. I pretty much do it anytime. I can do it anytime. Yes, but except I am still learning to do it when I am awake. So if I were like sitting here, I want to be able to project, if, you know.
Right.
So for right now, I have to really be in a sleepy state to be able to do it. So you get into that sleepy state. You just observe. You can use a mantra or whatever words you want to use. Your religion doesn't matter. You can use the word Jesus if you're Christian, or Buddha if you're Buddhist, whatever, right?
Right.
And you just repeat that internally, and you're just aware of yourself. And as you drowsy and drowsier, eventually you're going to start. You get into this hypnagogic state, right?
Right.
And where you start feeling, maybe you may feel your body getting heavier and heavier, and you're getting into that sleep state. And then you may start feeling that you may feel like you're spinning. I mean, you know, you feel like you're spinning, but you're not really spinning. You feel like you can hear some loud sound sometimes. So a variety of things.
Right.
But whatever happens during that time, don't panic. Just relax, just observe. And your body, the astral body, is going to leave. And you can roll when it's leaving. Sometimes I will do that. Like last week when I was visiting in the astral plane, Stonehenge, actually.
Oh, wow.
I was able to roll. Yeah. I was able to roll, get out of my body. And then, you know, sometimes I'll be able to see, look around, see myself in bed, my spouse, walk through the house, go through walls, fly, you know.
Oh, wow.
Jump off the highest buildings. I have created sandstorms and
Have you traveled through time?
You don't know. I have never tried or even thought, but now that you bring it up, that's very interesting.
Right. Well, we know that the Earth is at a place in time, in the past or future. It's a place. So we could travel back to that exact location.
Exactly.
So I think it's possible, right? I think I've done it.
It's very possible, because I have seen, you know, I don't want to call it travel through time, but I have been able to see my past lives, well, some of my past lives, while in the astral plane, because, you know, things happen instantly.
Right.
And you know, when your thoughts sort of materialize right away. So I've been able to travel, so to speak, to see, to observe myself at certain times in certain past lives, but not necessarily traveled back. I'm not sure what that would be. Like, it seems like it would just be easy to just say, hey, I just want to go back and see myself in childhood.
Right.
And go see myself in childhood. I mean, like, I think that would be easy.
Right.
I haven't really had a strong calling to do that. I did have a strong calling at one point to see my past life, so I did.
Right.
So for anyone who wants to astral project, that's an easy way. Now, the way I taught my husband was with the technique of pulling your finger. It's just that simple technique where, you just pull your fingers, you go about your day, and every time you come let's say you hear the siren go by, you ask yourself, am I in the astral plane or the physical plane? You pull your finger. And every time we see a group of people, you pull your finger. You see your car, you pull your finger. So you just go about your day, pulling your finger and asking the question, am I in the astral plane or physical plane?
Right.
And what happens is, when you're in the astral plane, your finger is going to elongate.
Okay.
Yes. Oh,
I love it. A lot of people recommend on a regular basis having a check to wake yourself up, or checking that you're not dreaming. And I think that's a perfect merge of that particular idea.
Yeah. Because I mean, you can pull your finger anywhere. People are not know if you're sitting in a meeting at your job, you just pull your finger. No one's gonna know what you're pulling your finger for.
That's perfect.
It's pretty easy, and you just do that. And what that does, it just allows your body, your mind, your subconscious, and of course your great dream know that you're wanting to experience being in the astral plane, and it's not going to be long. If you're really serious, you're going to do it.
Awesome.
I mean, you can also do it. I mean, I know that for a lot of people, when they go to bed, when they're really tired, and they fall asleep. So you could wake up in the morning and try it if you have time, because you're still groggy. I found that for me, for instance, if I wake up, meditate, and then go back to bed. Oh yeah, I'm definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely astral projecting, no doubt. So
Right.
there are so many ways. It just takes intention. They have to want to do it, because a lot of people they're scared. They're like,
Right.
huh. Well, I've had people ask me questions like, what if I get stuck in the astral plane?
Right.
That's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen. No, it's
No,
not.
that's not gonna.
Right.
That's not gonna happen. You're just sleeping. But it's fun. It's wonderful.
It's fun.
Absolute fun.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things you want to experience, because it really helps you to realize you're not your physical body.
Yeah.
It's an amazing experience for you to know that this isn't it, that just your physical body just it.
Right.
And yeah, and you get to really explore, attend some, if you're like a Christian, you could go to church in the astral plane.
Right.
You could talk to Jesus in the astral plane.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like I was in Stonehenge. I like to go to Stonehenge. Every time I go to Stonehenge, there's a ceremony going on. There's a non-physical temple there, and I get to go there, and the other day, I have a paid Facebook group called Juju Fierce,
Right.
and one of the members in the group wanted me to meet with her in the astral plane. And I've done this before with people where they say, meet me in the astral plane. And when I get there, they're not there. But this time I set the intention to meet with her. So when I came out of my body, we planned to meet at Stonehenge. So when I got to Stonehenge, it wasn't her, but it was her source.
Oh, okay.
Her great juju was waiting for me, dressed in this, looked exactly like her, had flowers around her head, and wore this incredibly gorgeous sheer blue flowing dress, and just waiting for me by the temple. And when I arrived, looked at me with such incredible divine love. There are no words. There are just no words to describe when you meet your great juju or someone else's, and they just look at you and you feel completely loved, and held my hand. We had a little chat, and then I was back.
All right, so we need to meet at Stonehenge. We need to plan it out. We'll definitely meet at Stonehenge in the near future. I'll keep an eye on it. So going back, I just want to talk about another couple things, because in my own experience in coaching, in clients, wealth coaching and that kind of thing, some people are really good at manifesting money, but they're not very good. But they're like, hey, I manifested $1 million, but I owe $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Or I manifested $1 million and I have to work 90 hours a week.
Yes.
So there's a certain kind of wealth with the billionaire mindset that you're talking about, that we're trying to manifest. That is not working 90 hours a week,
no.
Right? Or manifesting a gigantic amount of debt. You can get a loan for $1 billion, and then it's going to cost, So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. There's some things that people should be doing along their process of becoming a billionaire, of manifesting money, that they need to remember, right?
Yes.
So to make it easy, to make it quick. How do you deal with people with large amounts of debt? Because that debt really pulls their energy away from the belief and fun and joy of looking for opportunities. And debt, when the argument is, it's kind of a weird, if I'm focusing on that debt, then I'm going to get more of it. Anything we focus on, we get more of. So it's one of those cruxes, and I know you probably had to deal with it. So I want to get your perspective as a wealth coach on somebody that has a lot of debt, or the ways that what true wealth that we're trying to accumulate.
Okay. So for me, first of all, I always say I like things easy.
Right.
It's I have made easy a normal thing for me. Right. So I encourage people to make easy a normal thing for them, because we have been taught that hard work is what pays.
And it's not true.
And I say hard work cannot be what pays, because I know a lot of moms, grandmas in Africa where I grew up, who work their butts off and they are still poor.
Right.
So it is not hard work.
It's not hard work.
It is not hard work. So make easy work the joyful work. Now, easy work doesn't mean you're not going to come across challenges, or you may not have to learn new things. That's not what easy work means.
Right.
Easy work just means it will be something that you would naturally gravitate to and want to do.
Right.
Okay. So clients who have a lot of debt and they are focused on the debt, the first thing is peace with the debt. You have to make peace with your debt. You have to say, debt, yes, I borrowed, I owe, and it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. And yes, I could lose everything. I want that to be okay.
Right. Okay.
This is so important.
It is.
Because if you do not make peace with the debt, it will constantly pull you back, constantly be pulling at your energy and tugging at you. And it's going to be tougher to move forward. So make peace with the debt. Be okay with the fact that if the bank were to come and collect everything from you, you would still be okay. That is the first step.
And most billionaires have lots of debt.
Yes. Yes.
Being in debt is a part of being a billionaire or a millionaire
not
or being
wealthy. No, so it's not
having debt, not necessarily. Right.
Yeah, it's not so much it's a part of being a billionaire as if someone, so for me, for instance, I love buying things cash in the sense of I love in full, really, because of the joy it gives me to watch the other's face when I buy something that they don't expect me to pay cash for and I am paying for, right? And so that's my MO. For a lot of people and the way we've been raised, borrowing and the way the society was set up, borrowing is like the normal thing for a lot of people to do. Like, I mean, look at the country, the debt that the United States is in. It's huge debt. It's huge. So we thought that and in economics, people have been taught that, okay, don't go buy the car because it depreciates when it gets off the lot.
Right.
So you instead pay monthly for this car. And I say, hogwash, I'm going to go pay, in full. Right. I like to say cash. I'm going to go pay in full for this car and drive my car off the lot. And then 2 years, 3 years down the line, when I decide I don't want it, I'm going to go buy another one.
Right.
Give that one away. Because the energetics are different.
Right.
So you when you are putting out to the universe that money is
easy.
I can, money's energy, I'm energy, it's always available and it's always flowing to me in fabulous large amounts, $1 million amounts, or whatever amounts you desire. And when you are doing that with your energy, then there is no reason for you to be playing this game where, oh, my car is going to depreciate, so I should go in debt. I should go borrow money. Right. On the other hand, you could also look at borrowing money as easy way of getting money.
Right.
So if you're the kind of person who is not fazed by debt, who is not concerned by debt, right? If you've made peace with debt and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to go to the bank and they're going to give me $1 billion and I'm going to go buy that private jet. And I don't care if I ever pay them back, or I'm going to borrow it and then take the money and pay them back. So it all depends on your particular intentions. So the idea is examine what you've learned around money and then decide what you want with money.
Right.
So you get to break those boundaries. I mean, people don't believe they can buy houses with cash, with their own. They don't even believe they should.
Right.
Right. They feel like you have to go to the bank. Like somehow it's good to go to the bank and borrow that $300K and put down $20K or whatever, and and buy this house and then be paying every month and working every month and paying. But you can see in the energy and in the way people are dealing with that they've used that to cause a lot of stress for themselves and and really way. Because a lot of people who have homes and have to monthly their mortgage and they work 9 to 5 are stressed out. They're stressed out. They constantly think about money. How are we going to pay the mortgage this month? Then you have to send the kids to school. Then you have to pay for my car, pay off my car. And I'm afraid they're going to take it from me. And so there's a lot of fear around that. A lot of fear.
Which takes you away from your true potential.
Exactly. And if you were to turn that around, perhaps, yes, you're in a situation, someone could be in a situation where that's the case right now. They have borrowed. but now they begin to shift their consciousness around money, and they start to look at it. Okay, I'm so glad that I was energetically available for the bank to give me X amount.
Right.
And now I am wanting to turn things around. You can talk to your great juju about this, and your great juju is always listening and always there. I mean, it's
right.
And wants to assist you. So you just say, "Oh, great juju, I'm wanting to change my mind about this. I want to be in a flow where my next house, I want to just go pay
cash,
$10 million cash for it. I just want to walk in there and say, how much is this? And the agent says they're asking 10 million, and you say, great, wonderful people. Let's arrange it. And here we go. And beautiful. You want to do that and feel great and not feel like you somehow diminished your capacity, that your friends are going to be laughing at you, or that house is not worth. You're not buying the house because of it's worth it to you because of your how you love and admire the house, and that money goes to the people that you've bought it from, and they're not going to put that money under the pillow. The money gets to circulate. They get to go put it somewhere, invested, pay taxes, and the money keeps moving and keeps moving, just like energy continues to move and move. It's not just sitting somewhere for one person, right? So you can constantly contributing. Now you can the price down. You can say, hey, I want to pay $6 million for this home. That's totally fine. You can do that, but it gives you the energetics of being able to being in a position where you can just buy what you want and just pay it off. It's absolutely amazing. It takes a whole a shift in mindset, a shift of from the normal conditioning that we've had. That just go. People are buying their TVs and paying monthly for their TVs.
For their TVs,
buying their TVs.
It's a mindset problem. United States has a mindset problem with debt. And it's not because people don't have enough money. It's a mindset. They'll have $1,000 to buy the TV, and they'll still borrow the money to buy the TV because they don't want to lose the $1,000 because they're afraid they won't have it. So every time they use it, they're radiating out.
Exactly. That fear goes
and it's
out.
A big deal. And I'm saying, people listening to this podcast or watching this that heard your just explanation that we're saying, oh, that's ridiculous. Nobody ever buys a house. That's a you problem. And that's your perception of the world problem. And if you had that response that this is unrealistic, then you need to ask yourself about what your beliefs are about money. And even people that are somewhat pretty wealthy are still struggling with this. It is part of our human, it's part of our human journey. Yeah. Money is a part of our human spiritual journey in many ways, and you are on the forefront of it, and it's so exciting to talk to somebody that embraces this. Thank you. Now, one of the really wonderful books, my favorite books of all time, is Think and Grow Rich, and he talks about this wonderful idea of masterminds. Now, his idea was he would have a relation with like literal ghosts. When you read the book, he was talking to Abraham Lincoln. He might have been just in his head, but you have a mastermind. Yeah. So I wanted to get you have a mastermind that bespoke billionairerise.com. And it's a mastermind event happening in Chicago, March 20th to 21st. And you have venture capitalists there where you're going to work together. And the mastermind is such a great idea, especially for money, because 2 people equals 4 and 4 people equals 8. And there's something that happens energetically when the combination of ideas, when people are working together, and it's very, very powerful. Even one event can completely change your life. And so the idea that you have a mastermind event where you're talking about with an intention of being a conscious billionaire is so exciting. So I wanted you to tell a little bit more about that event.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm so excited and pumped about this idea and the event. Bespoke Billionaires Rise is about coming together, people who really want to scale to that $1 billion level, or maybe they just want to scale to millions. Maybe that's where they can see themselves right now. The idea is, even if you were to come into our circle, because there are many of us that want to be billionaires, and since that's my aim, I decided, hey, I'm not the only one. The other who want to be billionaires, and lo and behold, there are many of them. And so we're coming together, these amazing leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries, and meeting in Chicago, March 20 to 21st, 2020. And we're going to create, what we're doing, the idea of this is that we're going to get together and learn and figure out what it takes to scale your business, to take an idea and take it to market and really make a big splash out of it and really go deep, to reduce the fear that, you know, somehow it's hard to be a billionaire, right? And I hope that billionaires would event and decide to come either physically or via video, just to inspire, speak to us, and let us know that it, you know, it's okay to desire this. Not that we need the approval, because we're going with or without them, but when you have someone who's been there and done that, and they can come and say to you, yes, this is how I did it, and I had these challenges, I went, and see, I'm just a normal person like you. It helps a lot of to be able to see that. Awesome. So at the mastermind event, we've got venture capitalists, because there are people who have ideas, but they have no idea how to take those ideas to market. And they're looking for funding, or people who have built businesses, but they want to expand. They're looking for expansion, but they don't know how to, you know, how to raise the funds. So we're going to have the venture capitalists there. You can share ideas with the venture capitalists, and, you know, be able to get them to fund your idea. I mean, they're going to be right there at the event, so they're ready. And of course, we've got speakers, and one of our speakers is someone who teaches people how to pitch their ideas to venture capitalists and private investors. And she's going to have her templates that have helped her clients, you know, garner millions of dollars from private investors and venture capitalists to fund their ideas. So she's going to be there to show how to teach us how to, you know, your ideas. And then we have people that are going to be talking about expansion, communication, how to keep your business branding. We are going to together also share Rolodexes, because I mean, when you meet people, one of the great things about meeting them is being able to tap into their personal resources. And so there are people there who know billionaires. I mean, some of these venture capitalists work with billionaires in Silicon Valley, right? So being at this event is, anyone who comes to this event is definitely going to be changing the better, no matter how small or non-existent their business is at this point in time. Once they attend that event, it's going to be something else. The exposure that they're going to get.
If that week's open for me, I'm putting it on my calendar. I'm excited. From what you've just said, I think it's perfect. And anybody that wants to check that out is bespokebillionairesrise.com. And I'm not just saying that because that you asked. It sounds very exciting. There's a lot of cool people that are coming to this event, and to be around people that all share the intention of being a billionaire, the energy of just being around them will go and literally soak into your DNA and your spirit and your juju. And I think that it's a wonderful thing. People can also find you on manifesthighnetworth.com.
Yes.
So manifesthighnetworth.com.
And they can find me on Facebook, Fri Chihak. I have a free Facebook group, a paid Facebook group. They can find me on YouTube as well.
You know, while you've been talking, I've had several images come to me of you having a book out that said the first billion was the easiest. You in a picture in the cover, and I was like, that's not coming from my brain. That's somewhere in the space. So I'm excited to read that book, and please, I hope that you give me an autograph.
Of course, definitely. Definitely.
I'll be definitely sending you one.
Yes, and I just want to let the metaphysical people know that Bespoke Billionaires Rise event will also going to have metaphysics. I am going to be speaking at the event on Friday, and then I'm also going to, on Saturday, I'm going to host a specific meditation and coding ritual where we are going to activate our billionaire codes.
Awesome. That's awesome.
There's going to be metaphysics there. Everywhere I go, there's got to be metaphysics.
Of course. Wow. This has been so much fun. It's been such a blessing to get a chance to talk to you. Thank you so much for this interview. And I hope everybody checks that out. So bespokebillionairesrise.com.
Yes.
And thank you so much. And welcome again to the Reality Revolution.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's been fun.